Hello, everyone, from the Red Light Exposé Podcast. Thank you for inviting us to your fundraiser today. I'm Linda McDonald, and this is Jean Sarson, and we're from Persons Against Non-State Torture. And thank you, Andrea Hines and Michelle Abel, for interviewing us on the podcast and for highlighting our work around the torture that happens in prostitution based on the work that we do. So we coined the term non-state torture, and I'm just going to give you a definition that we've developed over time working with others. Non-state torture is torture that occurs in the domestic or private sphere, in relationships perpetrated within families, human trafficking, in prostitution, pornographic exploitation, by violent groups and gangs, dismissed as social, cultural, traditional, or religious acts, and can be committed during migration, displacement, and in humanitarian or civil unrest. So that's a long definition, but non-state torture is a global crime and human rights violation, and there's more non-state torture in the world than there is state torture. And we have devised 4 different categories. I'll just give you the brief summaries of each category of non-state torture and where prostitution fits in. Category 1 is the classic non-state torture. Category 2 is commercial-based, which is trafficking, prostitution, pornography, snuff pornography, and domestic migrant workers. Category 3 is social, cultural, and traditional religious acts and norms. And Category 4 is groups and gangs, such as organized crime and paramilitary. So what we're talking about today is Category 2, which is the commercial base and the money that the pimps and the buyers make and spend on buying women. So Jean's going to give you some more detail about our research in that way.
Thank you, Linda. So to make evidence how extensive non-state torture, victimization, and prostitution is, Linda and I devised a questionnaire. It has 48 different forms of non-state torture acts that perpetrators inflict. And I'll give you a few examples that are life-threatening. The concept of electric shocking, the issue of water torture when someone is held under water in a tub or the toilet or a lake, the issue of suffocation, choking, and strangulation. Those are some examples that are in the questionnaire. We also did an example using 30 responses from women in different countries. For example, they came from Canada, the majority came from Canada, from the USA, from the Philippines, from Ireland, and the UK. And what the women told us is the dehumanizing impact that non-state torture victimization caused them. For example, 93% of the 30 women told us they were called derogatory names. 90% were put down. But the important issue that this contributes to being treated as non-human, and 77% of the 30 said that's exactly how they felt. And to give you some example of what the majority or 50% of those 30 women said was most common, is that they were raped by one person. This is in prostitution, 77%. And they were raped with guns or other weapons or other objects. 77% said this is their ordeal. Threatened to be killed. They were beaten severely and savagely, and they were also group or gang raped. And pornographic victimization occurred, which leads to the humiliation. Drugging, whether it was alcohol, pills, or also the issue of phalangia, which is a term for beating the soles of the feet. And 50% of the women said that was inflicted against them. And people often wonder why that is. if the beating to the soles of your feet is so severe, you can't stand and you certainly can't run to escape. So that is some of the information that the questionnaires that women answered and tells us about the severity, Linda, of the non-state torture in prostitution.
Thanks, Jean. Now, we come with a positive message, and the first book we wrote, Women Unsilenced, Our Refusal to Let Torture or Traffickers Win, is all about our work and how we help women. And you can have a copy of this book through ebook or audio. We've donated 2 different forms for your fundraiser. So that's our first book, and we talk a lot about how we help women and how the resilient they are and how they heal. And we also have a second book that's coming out in October called Healing, Lynn's Story, How I Got Myself Back. And she really was a woman that Jean and I helped. She was tortured and trafficked and prostituted by her husband for 4.5 years, and really found no one to listen to her story until we met her 25 years later as nurses. So it's all about Lynn's story and how she healed from the trafficking and prostitution that she was subjected to. And we'll finish with Lynn's words because we know that women can heal. And Lynn said, "I'm feeling astonished and proud of my courage, of my strength, and of my will to survive." And that's the message we give you today, the gift of knowing that women can indeed heal from the torture and prostitution. So thank you very much, and good luck with your fundraiser.
Bye-bye.
Bye.